Hi guys, how are you today? I hope everybody's doing well. I'm going to give you all a few minutes to pop in and say hi and let us know where you're here from. Hi Sharon, good to see you today from Southern Utah, huh? How's the weather there? Here it's a little rainy today. Hi Priscilla. How's Texas doing today? We're a little windy, a little rainy, kind of nasty, but other than that, it's a lovely spring season. Hi, Amanda. Good to see you here. I'm assuming my weather may be a little bit better than it is in Minnesota. Did I get the accent right for Minnesota? So, hey, Kathy. Good to see you there. Here, it's snowy where you are in Utah, huh, Sharon? Wow. I am not sad that that is behind us, I will have to say. Hi, Doris. Hi, Susan. Hi, Tracy. Good to see you, Robin. And I'm sure California is much better than any of us have. So, hi, Caroline. Beautiful sunny day there today. Lucky devil. It was lovely here yesterday, but our we've got a little storm front running through. I mean, it's not like it's cold or anything, so that's nice, but very windy and a little dreary outside. Hi, Kelly. Good to see you from Alexandria, Louisiana. I have been there. I've also been to Monroe, Louisiana. I've been a lot of places in Louisiana. Actually, I almost traveled the entire state Actually, I went from one side of it to the other pretty much one trip. Hi, Dory. Good to see you. And how is Hernando, Florida? Hi, Ann. Good to see you. And Priscilla, it's warm but windy, huh? Hi, Charlene. Good to see you. And it's chilly in Kansas with showers, Betty, huh? Well, it's one of those days. The weather is crazy every place. It's different every place we go. So yesterday was nasty for you, Caroline. Yeah, I think we're getting what you had yesterday, but it's really not too bad here today, considering it looked really bad this morning that it was coming our way, and it's just kind of drizzling. So no big deal. All right, guys. Today I thought we would talk about small text and how to do it in your software. What makes good text, good small text, what doesn't make good small text. Both BES4 and PE Design have built-in text fonts that are specially digitized for small lettering. So for things like your quilt labels, what am I trying to say? Quilt labels, recipe towels, any of those type things. Small cuffs, collars. And really, those are the best ones to use. But I thought we would talk about that. And I thought we would talk about wingdings and things like that. So if you have specific questions, please be sure and pop them in for me and let me know. So good to see you guys. It looks like everybody's kind of had time to roll in. So without further ado, we'll start playing. Good to see you, Beth. All right. So we're going to go to our home tab. I'm in P Design first, and then we'll go to BES4 lettering. So we're going to click on our text tool, and you have 4 text tools. The first one is your regular text. The second one is your special small text. Third one is monogram style text, and the fourth one is alpha mapped text. So we're going to choose the second one, which is small text. And click on your design page to activate the text tool, and then type in your text. Oops, it does help if you know how to spell your own name. Type in your text. Now it looks like it's huge for you right now because I'm zoomed way in. Let me change my hoop size to where we're at a 4x4 so that everybody can see it pretty well. Now, when you look at this, and you zoom in, you'll notice I'm zoomed way in. Those stitches are spaced pretty far apart. If we go and look at our text drop-down menu, these are the fonts that are available in P Design 11 that are digitized for small text. So you are limited in the number of them that you have, but you have 10 pretty good ones here. So and you don't want to exceed the size that they say. So 5 millimeters is basically 0.2 inches, if that helps you out. 6 millimeters is going to be around 1/4 of an inch. So when you click one, it automatically applies. And you'll notice those stitches are spaced out. But if you go over to your attributes here, there are no sewing attributes that you can change for these fonts. You also cannot transform these fonts. You can adjust the kerning, which is the spacing between the letters, to tighten them up or loosen them out, but you can't change any of their main properties. Okay. There are some run fonts here. So you've got a kind of a script, kind of not, that's kind of an in-between font there is what I would say. You have some running stitch fonts. So if you don't want something heavy, that's a really nice font to go with. And you also have a true script style font that is a running stitch. Okay. So if it has blocks, notice those blocks will stitch. That means the characters for that don't exist. So instead of the lowercase letters, I would need to adjust that to uppercase letters. All right. And let's go back and check out our last one, which is, actually we got two more. Germany. And then you have Risa. And those are your small fonts that are built in. If you wanted to turn a regular font into a small font, that is a tricky business, guys. I can give you settings, but it really and truly is font dependent as to whether it's going to look good. I'm going to show you what this looks like in realistic preview here in just a second. So if I click on this and I choose my realistic preview, you'll notice those are pretty tight stitches, but that one will work. Those stitches are at least 1 millimeter apart. Small text means thin thread, 60 weight or above, and small needles, 65 9s or 75 11s. I personally use 75 11s because I don't like change. I like to use my needle threader. And if I go below that, I cannot use my needle threader. Let's look at a block one though to give you an idea. So this is your block font. It is at its default size 5 millimeters, which is 2.20. Anything in between 5 millimeters and 6 millimeters or 5 millimeters and 1/4 of an inch, I can go to. You do not want to exceed that and you don't want to go below that. You could fudge it a little bit, but it is specially digitized for those sizes. Now, if instead we decided we wanted to use a regular font, and change it to be small text. So let's click there, here, and there I am. I'm at 0.2 inches. You'll notice that this one is a little bit junkier. Now, I have actually changed my settings, so you'll notice that my settings are already at 4.0 lines per millimeter. 5 is the default. 5 is going to compact those stitches, and it's going to be like pounding sand. You will have a hole in your garment. So I suggest you go down to about 4.0. Let me change my view a little bit. My realistic view settings are set up towards thick, so it wouldn't show through for something else, but that gives you a better idea of what those stitches look like. When the thread is actually there, it will be closed up and you will not notice any spaces. Just kind of giving you an idea. So it's going to be font dependent. Let me show you what I mean by that. Let's come here and let's select a different script style. And let me check that back to default settings of no pull compensation. Do you see how those stitches look on that particular font? They're going to sew like that and you're going to have a hole in your garment. And let me explain what I mean. If we go to stitch view, and you select from one side to the other, if that is less than 1 millimeter, one stitch, if you've got a stitch in there that's less than 1 millimeter across, the machine really can't take that stitch. And I'm looking down here to see what my measurement is down at the bottom left-hand corner. So we've got a lot of tiny stitches there that are trying to cram, and you can see them right there. Now, what can I do to try to adjust that? Well, if I select it and I add a little bit of pull compensation in, I can sometimes fix it. Not always. What I'm telling you here, though, guys, if it looks ugly on the screen, it's going to look ugly stitched out when it comes to this. Okay? So it is really font dependent. Your block style fonts will tend to do better, just simply because they don't have as many angles and they don't have as many variations in their curves. Does that make sense? Any questions so far? All right, if not, let's flip over to BES4. Kelly, glyphs are only available with in BES4 because those are open type fonts. P Design 11 does not read open type fonts. You would have to have a conversion program for an open type font to be able to turn it into a true type font. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I've actually never, I haven't found one that did what I wanted it to do. So BES4, on the other hand, does allow you to bring in your glyphs. Okay, so let's flip over here to BES4. BES4, you're going to use you can use any of your text tools, just so you know, except for the monogram text. Come in and type in your text and click apply. Now, it's already picked up what I was going to do next. So we are not going to have true type fonts. We are going to come down here to our font category and choose small fonts right there. I can't bang it for you because my screen loses it. When you choose small fonts, you'll notice that the only fonts that are available are the ones that are for small text. They are the size that they are created for, once again. So if you choose plain bold 5 millimeters, you want to leave it at 5 millimeters. Let's zoom to that selection so you can see. And once again, you'll notice that the stitches are spread further apart. When you go down here, there are no attributes that you can change. Even if you apply a recipe, it will not work for this text. We'll try it. Apply a recipe. Let's say we wanted to go on a towel. Nothing changed. My stitches are the same. 333 stitches. 332. So I got one extra stitch. Nothing changed about that recipe. It just doesn't make a difference. There's no way to actually adjust that. So just keep that in mind, that the true type fonts, the small fonts are specifically created for small text. There's a Drake 5 millimeter. 5 millimeters is a quarter of an inch. Excuse me, that's less than a quarter of an inch. Your 6 millimeters is your quarter. So you can go up sometimes a little bit, but generally it's not a good idea to go down in size. That one right there is a really nice font when you're using for handkerchiefs and things. It looks messy right there, but it sews out beautifully on a handkerchief. Okay, coming back, let's see what we've got by way of questions. So Kelly, you've got a question about when you buy a font, how do you get the glyphs? Okay, so as I said, that's a BES4 thing. I can show you that one. And we have people here today from Denmark and somebody from Puerto Rico. Sweet. All right, let's see here. Where was I going? Glyphs. All right, I know that I have one font in here that is a glyph. We're going to go down to that font. I've chosen true type fonts, which will, the last update should have given you open type fonts available to you. So if I scroll down through here, I think it's called the Glisten. So I'm looking at my T's. Where is it? Well, you little oh, it's on the other computer. I'll be darned. Okay, I'm gonna have to do that another day. It's on the other computer, or if you guys can wait a few minutes, I'll go find it. But it's on my other computer. I can't get it to myself here right now, so I'll have to do that another day. How about we try that one next week? Let's talk Wingdings and Webdings and those type things. So, what in the heck is a Webding or a Wingding? Well, those are character-based fonts. They have pictures, so they're images that are keyboard images. They've just been mapped to the character map. And you can use them both in PE Design and in BES4. So I'm going to switch back over to my screen, and let's go home and zoom out. So that right there was my small font that I made out of regular text. And this is the built-in small font. So really, your block ones are going to be your better options. So let's see here. If I go up to my text drop-down menu, since this is a regular style font, and I scroll down, I've got these things, and depending on what you've got, it'll be symbols. I'm looking for my IMG folder. So if you want to really mess with somebody, you can make your name out of symbols. There's bookshelf symbols, and have them wondering, what the heck does that mean? That right there is my name in that symbol. Bookshelf symbols. You can truly mess with some people when you do that. So IMG symbols is one of the symbols that I have. If I just wanted to, if I don't know what the character is, this is kind of easy to do. I'm going to click on my regular text tool and click on the design page to activate it, and select your font here from the drop-down menu. In your text attributes window, you want to show list. When you show the list, when you hover your cursor over something, you only have to click once, not double click, and press enter. That item has been entered as a character. Is that not fun? Now, if you want to edit and add something else, let's see here. We have, this one has a snowflake. I keep double clicking. It has a flower. It has a symbol. There's another snowflake. There's another style flower. These are the items that I was able to pull up just with text. So if you don't have a image somewhere that you might want, this is an easy way to do it. But it truly, it's kind of a fun way to mess with somebody. That, I mean, that's my name in that alphabet. And they would never know that that's what that means unless you explain that's my name. There's also Webdings and Wingdings. And let's scroll down and see where those are. You'll see different character-based fonts that you can find. Marlette was not a very good one, I will tell you. Let's go all the way to the bottom of my list here where my Webdings and Wingdings are. So Webdings, Wingdings, and Wingdings 2 and Wingdings 3. Webdings, let's see what we've got there. So this is my name in Webdings. But if you want other items, so let's delete that out, and let's just kind of click on the text tool. Put your cursor over the characters to see what you've got. Need a text bubble. That doesn't look very good, but what can I do to this? If I go to my text tool and I convert that to outline, it's no longer a font. We'll ungroup it, delete one of them, and now I have myself a little text bubble. If I wanted to put text around something, let's put a zigzag outline around that and no sew on the middle. There you go. That's it. Just depending on what font you pick, depends on what you can do with it. How can you play with that? We could have also, instead of converting it to outline, let me find that guy again. My bubble. I keep double clicking. My bubble. So we don't want it to be we don't want it to be a fill. Let's see what just an outline does for it. Didn't even have to convert it to text. There you go. Now, if I want my points sharp instead of flat, how could I do that? Over here on your sewing attributes, if you're in beginner mode, you will not see this. In expert mode, you will, and you can hit that little point button right there, and now you've got sharp points. Same thing with this one. That's how you make sharp points from flat areas. If you look at the edit points on this one, for instance, you'll notice that I have a point at every end. This won't show us anything, but this will show us there's a point on every end, and that's how you know that it's going to make a sharp point. All right. So Webdings, Wingdings, image fonts, any of those will work. You can do the same thing over here. All right, so right now I've got flamboyance. We're going to change it to a true type font. And once again, let's go down here to image. Let's see what Image Seasons does. Now in BES4, I need to use my character map on my computer. Image Seasons only has, it's not going to give me a lot of them here. It doesn't have very many. So it's got like a flower. So let's copy those. Come over here and paste them. There's my 151, and let's make it bigger. There you go. And right now that might be appropriate for some locations because you're kind of in between seasons. Snow one day, butterflies the next day. I may have crashed my program here making it that big. It's having to regenerate the stitches for all of that, and I kind of made it huge. Come on. Do your thing. Okay, so it's telling me it can't convert it, so let's change it because I've got stitches bigger than a satin can go. Let's change it to a pattern fill and see what we get. While that's processing, any questions? No? You all are awful quiet today. It's still doing its thing thinking. So while it's doing that, let's talk split hoops while that's doing that. I had a question last week on how to make extra large embroidery designs. By that, we're talking about designs that are largest than your largest hoop. This is only in the Brother software world. This is only available in PE Design 11. Okay. So in PE Design 11, if you want to create a design bigger than your biggest hoop, it's very, very doable, and it's not that hard to put back together. So let's come back over to PE Design 11 and let's talk about that. When you're in your hoop settings, click on the hoop. And instead of choosing a regular hoop size from the drop-down menu, you would choose a custom hoop size. Choose the largest section size for your machine that you have. So if you have a 5x7 machine, you would be choosing the second option down. 4x4, you'd be choosing the 90x90. It takes 10 millimeters off each dimension. So your 130 by 180 is your 5x7. This is your hoop for that. Let's say we wanted to do it, split a design for an 8x8 hoop. That would be 190 by 190. And let's assume I'm going to do 2 sections of an 8x8. We'll act like I've got a persona today. So my width can only go up to 190. And I'm going to scroll up till it's double 190, and then we'll back down. Once I get down to 2 single hoops, I'm ready to go. And it is best to do this in metric and not inches because you'll lose part of your hoop if you don't. Your design, your hoop size is ready now to create your design. Let's just do a decorative fill in a rectangle here. I'm going to make that not sewn. We can come in and draw the design around the area. And this is my design. When I save it out, it will save it into 2 parts. You will have AA and AB. If we go down here to our properties, this is what's going to sew in section 1. And let me show you what you'll see here. This is section 1. This is the main color. It will sew at the very end of it a basting stitch line to line it up with the next section. When you touch next, the first thing that sews on the next section is the basting stitch line, and then it sews the fill. So how does that work? What I personally do is I stitch piece 1 out, and I usually use the same stabilizer that I'm going to use on both pieces. So I'll use like a piece of water soluble adhesive. Stitch piece 1 out and float whatever stabilizer that I want to keep, that I want to stay underneath that hoop, between the bed of the hoop, between the base of the hoop and the bed of the machine. So just slide it underneath that hoop. Stitch the first half. After the first half is stitched, don't forget to do the basting stitch line. You unhoop it. Trim that stabilizer, not all the way up, but get the paper part off because you don't want it to release. Then I hoop the adhesive base stabilizer again. I stitch my basting stitch line onto the stabilizer itself. After I've done that, I take my first piece and I match up the knots on my basting stitch on one side and then the other, and lightly smooth that down. Put it back in the machine, bring up side 2, and then I will actually fast forward my machine to make sure that the needle is going into the holes that it needs to go. If it's not, you can lift and shift your project. Once you've got your basting stitches lining up, smooth the fabric all the way down, float your stabilizer that you want to remain underneath the hoop and between the bed of the machine, and you're off to the races. Okay, let's see what's happened with our BES4. Okay, so it does not like that particular one at a large size. Regardless of whether I change its stitch or not, it does not like that particular one. Somebody asked how you find the character map. You go to the search button on your computer, and you have to, then you'll type in CHAR. I can't actually share that with you because that screen doesn't share over here on the other screen. And let's see here. Maybe I can. Hold on. Share. Let me stop my screen here for a second. Let's share screen. This is going to mess with you all. Just keep in mind that it's okay. You're going to see a lot of stuff there. So down here at the very bottom, type in CHAR. You'll see character map. It's on every Windows computer. Once you see that, let me stop sharing that screen and we'll share the other one. Then it's over. Then you've got your character map up that you can play with. Every font on your computer that is a true type font will be listed here. So if you need funky characters, that's where you get them. This is where you'll also grab your glyphs. So if you had open type fonts, you will get your glyphs. Okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Once you find the characters that you want, so let's go down here to my Wingdings. These are my Wingdings. So if I've got Wingdings 2 selected here, I need to choose Wingdings 2 from my font drop-down menu. Okay. Now, let's bring my character map back up. And you can come in here and let's see, I needed an arrow. This is where I double click. These are actually kind of fun to do. Let's copy them and come over here and paste and then apply. And there you go. So instead of having a font, you have character-based items that are totally different. Okay. Questions? That's gone quick. No exciting questions for me today? Wow. Y'all are quiet today. Let me see. Let me scroll back through here and see. I do not see any massive questions. Okay. So let's talk about using that in. We can go for Canvas Workspace here. Since you all don't have a whole lot to say today. Let's come over to Canvas Workspace. Let me choose new. You can tell I've been doing Easter stuff. I love my 10 needle. It is the bomb. All right. If I want to use web-based characters here, I can do it as well. They are at the bottom of your font list. So depending on what one you're looking for, here's my IMG one that I used for other things. So that could be used with your scan and cut. And if you want to play with different stitch types, this is a great way to send an FCM back over to either BES4 or P Design 11 that gives you different options to use. Let's see what our Wingdings look like. It's nice that you can use them with any of the 3 programs. Wingdings 2. So that is evidently Cindy and Wingdings. If you want to do specific characters, once again, go into the character map. Bring you up. Where are you? Hiding on my other screen. Scroll down and find the font that you want to use. We're doing Wingdings 2, right? And you can come in and double click on those characters. Select them, copy them, come over here with your text tool, right mouse click and paste, and you have it. Now, isn't that a fun way to make a little trim? And if you want them spaced closer together, you can smush them together. Then let's see what happens if we try to make a trim out of this. Let's see if it'll let us weld them. It does, but it takes out the center, so that may not be the best option. I like them spaced apart anyway. Okay, Tina, if you are seriously interested in one, I would go talk to the dealer, talk to your dealer, try it out, take it for a test drive while you're there. I truly love mine, but I like all my machines. I will have to say that one it makes doing samples and stuff so much faster because I don't have to sit and babysit it. I set it up, put the colors that I want on there, and let it go to town. It is really a really nice little machine. And the footprint's not that much bigger than my Luminaire. It takes less space up in my room than my Luminaire does. So get just food for thought. If you don't need a sewing machine, it's a great way to go. All right, guys. Let's see here. I'm running out of topics today. Let me think. What have I not discussed? I thought y'all would have more questions. Not so much for me today. Okay. What have we not discussed? How about we talk about the design database? Because I don't think we've talked about that a whole lot. Okay. P Design has what we call a design database. And what that is our organizing program. In layout and editing, if you go up to your help menu, you can choose the design database. This is where you can organize your designs. Yes, Beverly, there are some designs that you cannot ungroup. If they are in fixed stitch format, you cannot ungroup a design. All right, so here is my design database. If you don't have a 10 needle machine, then you're probably not going to go via link. And it doesn't look like I have any other methods of transfer besides going wirelessly today because I must not have a USB stick in my computer. Let me find one. Here's something. Let's put a USB stick in. And it does not recognize my, nope. I can't find another USB port. All right, guys, that's not going to happen today. I'm afraid I'll take out my mouse. I'll take out either my mouse or my keyboard, and I don't want to take either one of them out. because I don't have just a plain Jane USB stick sitting on my desk. Who knew? Who would have thunk that? They're all, oh yes, I do. Ha. Oy. All right, USB stick. All right. Whatever methods of transfer you have available will show up in your drop-down menu, and you want to choose where you're going to if you're wanting to send multiple designs at one time. So let's go to where your data is in P-Design 11. Program files x86, brother, P-Design 11, and if you go down through here, you should see library. These are the designs that are in your design library, and you have multiple categories in there. Is that the only designs that it will see? Of course not. If you have designs located someplace else on your computer, it will find those. What formats does it read? If I right mouse click on it and choose convert format, it's going to show you what it exports as, and that's what it reads as well. So you've got PES, DST, EXP, PCS, HUS, VIP, SHV, JEF, which is a Genome format, SEW, CSD, and XXX, okay? Now, if I wanted to convert multiple designs in one folder at one time, let's say I want to do the whole folder, they must all be the same file extension on the end. If I hold my shift key down and select the first one and then select the last one, you'll notice that they all turn purple. At that point, I can right mouse click and choose convert format, select the format that I would like them to be in. So here's the formats that I could go to. So let's say we wanted to go PCS. I could then tell it to go to a specific folder. If that folder is not available, I can actually make a new folder. So I'm going to actually make a folder in here, in my brother folder, P-Design 11, library, where are we? We're in buttonholes, large. Make a new folder, and we're going to call this converted designs. Select that folder and then click OK. Say convert. And now if we come over here and refresh our page, display, refresh, there's a plus sign next to my buttonholes now, and you'll notice these are my buttonholes converted. Okay. So that is really an easy way to go about converting things. It also is an easy way to organize items. So truly, you can select a folder, you can create new folders, right mouse click, create, go up to the file pull down menu, create new folder. There you go. My designs, or whatever you want to choose. You can't delete folders from here, but you can actually move designs in there. If I wanted to take those converted designs, select them all, move them into my designs folder. There you go. They are no longer in my converted folder. I've just moved them over. Drag and drop, guys, drag and drop. You can also go search for designs. This is one of the things that I use this program the most for. Go up to your file pull down menu and choose search, or right mouse click on the drive and choose search. You do want to be on a drive and not in a folder, because if you're in a folder, all it's going to look at is the folder. You can search by file name. You can search by format, by stitch count, by color changes, by width, by height, by date modified. This one right here is what I use most of the time because I forget the names of things, but I can usually tell you what date I touched it, a date range that I touched it. Another way that I use this is, say, Christmas time, and if I don't want to do designs that have any more than 6 color changes, I can search all of the designs on my computer to see which ones are there. Tammy, no, it does not read art files at all. BES4 does read an art file to convert it to a PES file. All right, while that's searching, I'll answer questions here. as far as I know, Kathleen, when you're using the border feature, you can't zoom out. Are you talking about the auto quilt sash borders? You can't zoom out to see the whole thing. You can manipulate around the piece that you're actually using, but you can't zoom out to see the whole thing. Ah, you're learning how to make files right now. Sweet. Just take your time and go through that, and it actually will walk you through every piece of this program. BES4 is a standalone program. It is not a, what am I trying to say? It's not a digitizing program. It will convert FCM files into appliques, but as for general digitizing, it is not a digitizing program. Your Dream 2 is a lovely machine. It all depends on what you want to do with it, Karen. You have a beautiful machine. Let's see here. There is no 1050. There's not going to be a 1050X upgrade. It is that 1050 is what it is and what it's going to be there. They went ahead that when the brain of the machine changed, so they are not updating the 1050. Its brain can't handle what they put in the 1055. I wish I could tell you differently. I sold my 1050 for that reason. Okay, so let me go show you my screen. These are all the designs on my computer that have 6 colors or less that I could select from. Now that's a whole lot of designs, and that's pretty much all built-in content into PE Design. You'll notice I have a lot of them twice. That's because I have PE Design 10 and 11 on this computer. So I will have multiples if it's in there twice. But those are all the designs that I could use that have 6 colors or less. You can search by stitch count. If you don't want to stitch anything that takes over 6 minutes, you can come up, right mouse click, and choose search. Instead of color changes, do stitch count. If your machine stitches like 1,000 stitches a minute, 6,000 stitches, you're ready to go. Okay, so while that's doing that, let me answer some more questions here. With BES4, you can convert an SVG file into PAS. An FCM file. I can export an SVG, but I cannot import it. However, there is a workaround. With PowerPack 1, I can automatically in the program itself. It would have to be an applique because it is not a digitizing program. SVGs into PE Design, no problem. Let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about here. So there is a workaround. If you want to bring an SVG into BES4, you can take it through Canvas Workspace, click the SVG button, and convert it, basically send it out as an FCM file, and then your BES4 will read it. Canvas Workspace is a free program. So if I wanted to do that, go over to my Canvas Workspace, File, New. I'm going to touch my SVG button here. And let's see here. Here's me an Easter egg SVG. Oops, undo. If I want to export that as an FCM file, export FCM. Now I'm going to go over to my BES4. Let's get rid of my text. Application button, import artwork. And as I didn't mean true top font, import artwork. As I said, I have all of the power packs activated on mine, so mine would read an SVG file. Yours won't. So let's see here, Easter egg. Wrong one. Now that resulting file that I have there can be converted into an applique. This may be too complex for it. It may be really messy, and it is really messy, but that's what you can do with it. That's actually kind of cool looking just as outlines though. If you have Power Pack 1, you can convert it to runs, and you can convert to decorative fills. There's multiple layers there, though, it looks like. In P Design 11, let's go back to regular hoop size. New. I can bring an SVG file directly in, import patterns from vector image. And let's see here. I'm pretty sure I have something that's a vector. It automatically converts it to embroidery for me. Now, whether I like that conversion or not, that's a different matter, but it automatically converts it for me. So if I want different colors, say I want my egg to be yellow and my flowers to be different colors, I can just come and change the color scheme. All right. No, you do not have to own a scan and cut in order to be able to use Canvas Workspace. Canvas Workspace is a free program that anybody can use, whether they have a scan and cut or not. And the nice thing about it is it does convert your artwork to FCM files for you. So if you have a JPEG or something, you can convert it to an FCM file that you can use with your BES4. Let's see here. What are the Power Packs? The Power Packs are just for BES4. You have Power Pack 1, and that allows you to convert to runs, convert to decorative fills, bring in SVG files, save shapes as word collage shapes, import TrueType fonts as artwork. It imports SVG files. It has two-way communication between a Dream machine and the software, or the PR1050X and the software, or any of the machines that save as PHC files. It has auto split for the jumbo frame for the 10 needle. That's the only one it auto splits for. Reverse applique is really the same as applique. There's not a whole lot of difference in technique, besides you tend to use a raw edge applique treatment instead, a running stitch instead of a satin stitch. The difference is in how you do the applique. So for instance, let me come over here and look at my software. If I came in and I created a heart and we turned it into applique, instead of having a covering stitch as a zigzag stitch, I'm going to change it to an E stitch just because it will be right up against the edge, and leave it at the default. I added it instead of replaced. Let me undo that. I want to replace. All right. So what I would do is come up to my covering stitch and change it from an EV stitch to a triple stitch. And then what you do is you stitch your placement stitch line, and after it's onto your garment, after it's stitched the placement stitch line, you float your fabric up underneath there that you plan on having steady. You trim out the interior of the garment that you're using. Stitch it again. And you want to make sure that you leave space. You can actually trim after you're done with the whole thing. I tend to use water soluble stabilizer when I'm doing this, and it will actually stitch the fabric that you're planning on using as your reversible applique to it. So now they're both bound. Come in and trim basically about 1/4 of an inch on the inside of the line, not to the outside of the line, and you have reversible applique. So that's one of the, it's basically applique. You're just, instead of placing fabric on top, you're placing fabric underneath. Okay. Power Packs. What else is in Power Packs? Power Pack 2 is all about artwork for the scan and cut machine. However, having said that, if you have artwork, you can actually do many things with it for the embroidery side. It gave you the rhinestone capability in your BES4 to send rhinestone template designs to your scan and cut. And it gives you the capability of combining rhinestones with your embroidery right on the screen. True Type fonts is artwork, word collage, and artwork mode. Yeah, if you go back and watch some of the Facebook Lives that I've done over the past year, I've covered a ton of this stuff, okay? There's not a specific class to learn all this. As you start getting interested in things, certain things you'll pick up more on. Usually I try to concentrate on one thing. Today, I thought it would take longer for us to do small text because I figure y'all would have many more questions, but you didn't. So it took that way I got to wonder. So when you have, when I have more time, we just kind of cover more things. Thanks, Tammy. I do have books on both programs, both BES4 and PE Design. I do not have an 11 book. I have a 10 book. I am working on a supplement, but who knows when that will be done. The basics of PE Design 11 are the same as PE Design 10. So the book works for both. Let's see here, banners. Oh, by the way, Angela and I do have another class scheduled. We are going to do caps the next time. We do not have it. I think the date is like April the 16th or somewhere around there. Just keep that in mind. I'll have a posting for that probably next week. We haven't created the post yet. So here's your coupon code for version 10 workbook. And here is your coupon code for Lettering So Easy. This is the BES4 workbook. So LET4 and DIGT 10. Those are the two coupon codes. The character things are a fun one. Okay, so what was I going to tell you all? What else? I am so close to reaching my goal that I had for me for January that it was not even funny. My goal was by January to have 2,000 Facebook followers. I started out, I think, with 100 because I've totally ignored social media. And we are like maybe, hold on, let's look and see. We're about, maybe 7 people away from that, which is pretty awesome. And so at 7 people, when that happens, I will probably do something fun. Let's see here. Yes, exactly 7 people needed to hit the 2,000 mark, which is that was one of my goals this year. Next year, I guess this coming year, I need to focus on Instagram because I'm terrible. But if you all will like and share this post, or like my page, share the post, I would really appreciate it. The hat, yeah, Karen, and we're gonna try to focus on the hoops that you have available to yourself. We'll talk about some specialty hoops, but how to do hoops with what you have with a home market machine. Marion, I'm not sure what question you're asking on which. Sharon, we're not focusing on the 10 needle. We'll be using home market hoops. I can do it on the 10 needle. Obviously I have a 10 needle here. So that's more of a specialty class, that I would probably do on my own, not with Angela's, just simply because my nose is somebody coming to visit me. My nose is about to itch off the band. That's probably a specialty class that I would end up doing, and because I have all the hoops that work with the 10 needle. But that doesn't mean I can't show that during that hat class. We're going to talk about embroidering on the front of the cap, side of the cap, back of the cap. Okay, guys. I'll do something funner. Maybe I'll come up with a project for next week. We'll see, because life is just about to get really hectic. I thought it was somebody was talking about you or somebody coming and visit, but you're telling me it means it's going to be rain. Okay. Where do you get the hats? Any non-structured cap, you can go to your local shop and buy something to practice on. Angela may have some caps that we sell. So I'll see. I have no idea what her plan is on that. But you can do any non-structured cap. And you can usually find some at your local, not thrift store, but your local, yeah, I'm not trying to say that, Jan. Your local store, your local variety store, what, general all-purpose store that you go in and buy things at, you can usually buy them for like $3 or $4. So it's something to play with. There are obviously better places that you can get caps that are better quality, but that's a great way to start with something. Yeah, maybe I'll do a project and give the project away. We shall see. So you've heard "Kiss a Fool," Terry. That's funny. Um, so yeah, I'm not allowed to say names really unless I'm associated with them. So yeah, Angela and I are trying to do more and more trying to keep something going at least once a month. Now, when we start preparing for our big convention for the dealers, we will slow down a little bit because my life gets absolutely absurdly crazy at that point. But we shall see. You do not need a hat hoop. You may love a hat hoop, but no, we're gonna show you without a hat hoop with your regular standard hoops that come with your machine. I will also show you how to use some of the specialty hoops, Karen, like your Durkee frames. So I have some specialty frames here just simply because Durkee is one of the companies that I work with. So, all right, guys. If you don't have any other questions, I will let you know next week. I think next week we should have the timing down and stuff for the class. Tina, I have no idea. It all depends on what happens with COVID. I have absolutely no idea. That I hope we get to travel again come fall, but I truly just don't know. We miss being out with you guys, but I will have to say it's kind of nice being able to do it from a home. It is what it is. Hopefully we will get to travel again. I would like to be able to get back out on the road and see people. This is a solitary existence, I will have to say, but I get more done this way. I can tell you that. And I can reach out to more people through Facebook or through any other, through my classes. People that would never have got to come in person. That's kind of been a nice thing. So you guys have a great rest of the day. Have a great week. See you next week. Bye.